While we're all speculating as to Iran's nuclear capability, where would they hit us? When are they going to hit us? We need to stop them. We need to cut off their military. The United States is the only country that has dropped a bomb on another country during World War II. What y'all are all worried about, United States already did it.
Yeah.
And they named the bomb that they dropped Little Boy. I almost teared up.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Welcome
to another episode
of Hood Rat
to Head Wrap. Thank you, everybody, for supporting this listener-supported podcast. We could not do this without you. And for those who are interested in supporting in non-monetary ways, you can like, share, subscribe, tell people about it, write about it, share in whatever way that you can. If you want to support in monetary ways, you can become a patron, and I'll have a description of that in the podcast. You can also do so through Venmo and PayPal, and I'll have all of that information in the description of this episode. I also want to say that in August, they're going to be the celebration of Black Trans Women Cookout.
Yeah.
And have a GoFundMe. Please support that as well. Donate, give funds. They're trying to raise money for something that they do with little resource every single year. A good friend of ours, Gia Love, runs it. It's a celebration of Black Trans Women Cookout. Happens in New York pretty much every August during Black August. So please support that. And I'll have a link to that GoFundMe in the description of this episode as well.
I feel like it's solemn. It's a solemn episode because of all the things that are going on in the world.
Yes, I think Pride always has an asterisk next to it, regardless of what the news cycle is, or what the normalized breaking news is, which the normalization of breaking news is that we just expect and anticipate some level of worldwide devastation, political deception, intrigue on a wide global scale. That's just our everyday life. So we just anticipate that, and then we just be like, oh yeah, this happened and that happened. Yeah. And Happy Pride is like, yes, and
yeah, there's somebody that we'll find the exact thread or tweet, and the person was like, it's just Pride. I'm wishing you a Pride. I don't know about the happy part.
I don't know about the I don't know. That's why I say it's always an asterisk. It's always a caveat associated with it, especially in the United States of America, KKK. Yeah. That's the reality, especially for Black, queer, and trans people. Yes. Whose acceptance in the queer community, despite our major contributions to it, is still not fully there.
No, I've been thinking a lot about Sylvia Rivera's, almost like her final interview before she passed, a year before she passed, where she was visibly annoyed. Yes. Right? And talking about Pride. And she was saying, why do they want our dollars? Like, we giving them their pride. Like, when are they going to give us our pride? Yeah. When are they going to pour back into us? You know? And I was talking to someone who was saying that the queer community has a $1.4 trillion buying power. And the way that was phrased, I didn't understand what they meant at first. I thought they meant like, the queer community deserves that. I didn't understand that it was $1.4 trillion buying power. Yes. We're going to go support these straight businesses, which is what Sylvia Rivera was saying. It's like, why are we giving them our dollar, right? And it's all about money, too. Yes. And I know that a lot of Pride marches is essentially what they are, parades. Yes. They're not marches anymore.
They're not
protests anymore.
Sometimes they are a sign of protest from Black, trans, and queer people.
Yes, and they are oftentimes removed. But the institution of Pride, a lot of those nonprofits in San Francisco and New York, which is probably some of the largest, have been upset because they've been losing endorsement from all of these fake ass companies that were never about it anyway. Yes. So I just like shrugged my shoulders.
yeah, that's what Sylvia Rivera was in that clip. You know, we actually had that on the previous podcast.
Yes.
We started it off talking about that last year for our Pride episode, talking about rainbow capitalism.
Yes.
And she was saying that this is essentially straight Pride now.
Yeah.
Given the level of corporatization that you see, like you mentioned, well, all of these companies and now the major Pride organizations are complaining because they're losing money. I'm like, but you're losing money from organizations and businesses that are complicit in genocide, that have banking relationships and financial relationships with arms companies and all type of just very white supremacist shit.
Yeah.
It's the whole pink washing, rainbow capitalism. It's that whole matrix that I think is why it's always just, it's pride and it's always fraud for those of us who have lived and existed outside. Pride existed on the fringes of society, the way that it was started with Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera and Stormy DeLavery and all of these other people, you know what I'm saying, who were being targeted. Miss Major, like these are people who are being targeted for being who they are by a police state, that these same corporations that are a part of that police state and uphold it now have a front row seat to.
What then does Pride look like for you? Like you, Ebony. What would make Pride happy?
Reparations would make Pride happy for me. Yes. I don't think...
P. Diddy also would get reparations.
I mean, there can be conversations about affluent money, celebrity class, or elite class Black people and reparations. I think that we're not even at the point of policy yet. Like actually figuring out the nuts and bolts of who getting what and when. It's even the rhetoric, the idea of reparations is still such a threat to the white American mainstream society, in that it would radically change and shift the entire organization of American society, which is mostly white businesses, mostly non-white consumers. That's kind of how they would like to have it. Or white consumer. They don't care who's consuming as long as the proprietorship is white people. That goes for during Pride, during June. That's for Mother's Day. It don't matter what motherfucking month. They probably gonna start doing Black August shit. Who knows? Like white people find a way. They are effective salespeople. They find a way to sell you anything. Just like this Jojo Siwa person.
To be fair, she said, not to be fair, who cares? But Jojo Siwa is now dating Chris Hughes, who is a former Love Island contestant from Love Island UK. And they met on Big Brother UK, which I have not watched. And people started to speculate that they were developing a relationship. Mind you, Jojo Siwa was in a relationship with a woman at the time. And their relationship was public. They were on red carpets and everything. And when she left the house, the girlfriend went on TikTok and was crying and devastated. And Jojo Siwa and Chris Hughes were still denying their relationship. They were saying they were just friends.
Because they was creeping.
Yeah. So then now they're saying that they're together. Jojo Siwa is 22 years old and Chris Hughes is 32. And now Jojo is saying that she felt pressured by the queer community to come out as a lesbian when maybe she really just wanted to come out as bisexual. So a lot of the bisexuals are saying that this is a perfect example of how the queer community is biphobic.
Saying that in support of her?
Correct. They're saying that it's an example of how the queer community can be biphobic, like it can be transphobic. So I don't
These
disagree.
are white queer conversations to me.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest.
Okay, tell me, you ever felt pressured by the queer community to come out any other way?
Pressure from the queer community? Like, that's what I'm like, it's just too much going on. It's like the way that things are being framed are very, very strategic and intentional.
Yes.
The pressure to be straight, the pressure to be cisgender and heterosexual, it's in every damn thing. It's in everything. So it's implied. People just if you don't tell them motherfucker you gay half the time sometimes, they just automatically assume if you don't open your mouth or you don't walk or say anything that could indicate to them that you are not straight, they automatically just assume that you are.
Yeah.
So who's to say that her being with him, with a nigga 10 years older than you, is not inside of this pressure, inside of cis heteronormativity to be married to a man.
32-year-old have anything in common with a 22-year-old? He didn't pressure you to be in this relationship. Will you have any clue if it was pressure? Jojo Siwa, my love, you are a celebrity, right? You have been in the public eye for a very long time. You mean to tell me that you weren't pressured by your manager or by whoever else is managing you to come out as a lesbian and make it plain?
No, her mortgage.
Okay.
Her mama mortgage. Since she only 22. Your mama mortgage, bills. That cars
came out as bisexual when I first came out, and then I came out as a lesbian.
That was on Facebook. We all did it. It was a big thing when Facebook put bisexual on there. We all
did. You come out as bisexual?
I might have been I was a little bit of everything
on Facebook. Did you come out as bisexual? I believe
I put that on there.
Interested in women.
I never identified as lesbian ever in my life.
What?
I never identified as a lesbian.
Wait a damn minute.
I never ever identified as a lesbian.
You never identified as a lesbian?
No, it never felt like a match.
Am I pressuring
you? That was a little bit of, see, I see what JoJo's saying right now. I see what she meant. No.
You never felt like a lesbian?
I was not. I've been transgender all my life. Given the context of how I was understanding my gender identity,
I see what you mean.
I would not have identified that way.
I see what you mean. Yes.
I also was not really looking at people in a, like, you a woman and you a man.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
You're like pansexual.
Essentially. Yeah. I guess.
But I don't care about the gender. You care about the person.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Even when I met you, I was not like on Tinder saying lesbian.
What did you say?
I didn't say anything related to my sexuality. I never felt like I had to. Being in the Bay, everybody is in the life. Everybody is gay. Everybody damn near. And if you are looked at like, what's wrong with you? A little bit like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn. And if you're not, then you know a million people who are. I don't know. There's something about the term lesbian. I don't know what it is. It just didn't feel like a match for me.
I feel that. I feel like lesbian kind of fell off for me and bisexual fell off for me because I just felt so turned off by cis men that I was like, I don't think I'm bisexual. I used to say that I wanted to this was when I was like 13.
Yeah.
That I wanted to, and I think when did Jojo Siwa come out? I didn't realize she was only 22. I thought she was like 30. But either way, she must have came out when she was like 17. So when I was like 13, I was like, I like girls, but I only want to kiss them. I don't want to be in relationship with them. I want to be in relationship with boys. Yeah. And then I feel like that carried me almost all the way up until my first or second year in college. Yeah. Then I was like, oh no. It's much deeper than that, right? Like I want to be in a relationship with a girl, but I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know how to begin. I didn't grow up in the Bay.
But you didn't really feel like a girl either, fully.
But I also, it was like, I don't feel like a girl, but I also don't think about gender.
Right. Like, that's what it was.
I'm more so like, I'm interested in you because I like you. Like, I don't really care about your gender at all.
Is this us saying we don't see race?
I think at one point I definitely said
you never. I hope you. I'm striking that from the record.
Red, blue, purple. It doesn't
You've
matter
never said that around me.
My dad told me that you need to date Asians, you need to date white people, you need to date black people, you need to date everybody. That's what he told me. My dad told me that. He did. That was his dating advice because he wanted me to break up with my boyfriend at the time. So he was telling me to explore, which I don't necessarily agree with that advice, but I understand what he was trying to tell me.
He was saying to diversify, to go out and
not put all my eggs in one basket, to not close off with just him. And I was ready to marry him at 17.
All these other races and people.
Yeah, anyway, he just brought in all the races too.
I think that's another thing.
But he ain't ever say you could date women.
Well, since your dad is cis heteronormative,
but
like most people.
But he never made that like something that was an option.
It occurred to him as an option for you.
No, but when I brought my first girlfriend to my graduation dinner, he was like, I had an idea.
So I think my thing is that being a black queer person, being a black trans person, our gendered and experiences with sexuality are very different than a Jojo Siwa, like a person from the white queer community. So you talk about this a lot, where there is such a desire to be in a relationship as a queer person in order to authenticate and validate yourself as a queer person. And I feel like that's what she was doing. It ain't got shit to do with the queer community. No, you trying to prove either on a gay for pay scheme, trying to get more money, because I don't know when she came out, but it was probably during the Biden administration. It was during a time where
way earlier than that, babe.
Obama administration, it was booming off the chain. Marriage equality and all that shit had passed. So the white gay dollars are flowing in.
They're flowing in.
And you are trying to tap into that market.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about the Dance Mom show, but this seems a little trailer parkish.
It is. The person that runs it is like she's a racist. Like,
well, there you go.
Yeah,
you come from I'm pretty sure Jojo Siwa family. Yeah. I heard, are they from Nebraska or something like that? I
don't know.
I believe they.
You know a lot about
No, I know. I just looked them up because for the purposes of this conversation, but. Honestly, it's like, you know good and damn well that you and any white person, half the white people in the world, I don't care if you from motherfucking Brooklyn or you from Omaha, y'all are racist.
But also the presence of not being in a queer relationship will devalue your queerness under whiteness, because whiteness is all about aesthetic.
Yes.
So it's all about
queer?
how things look.
Yeah.
You dress this way. Do you shave the sides of your head? Do you wear the little keychain on your pants? Are you dressed masculine? Are you dressed feminine? If you dress feminine, you're not really clocked. But if you dress masculine, like what's her face, Birds of a Feather?
I don't know who that is.
Yes, you do.
Billie Eilish.
Thank you. Billie Eilish. You dress like Billie Eilish, and you definitely a lesbian. But Billie Eilish is also dating a man right now.
And I don't
she's
care.
dating a man right now.
Here's the deal. I want to say this to y'all real quick because I could already anticipate and preempt some people like, you don't have to.
No, but let me just round out that thought, though. Let me round out that thought, because I feel like this is what people say. People are upset with Billie Eilish for dating a man right now, right? Just like they were upset with Jojo Siwa for dating a man, right? They were upset with her when she got in this relationship. And people were saying that is biphobic, in which it is, right? Because who you're dating does not determine your sexuality.
No,
it doesn't.
It don't.
Right? Like, again, you could be exploring, your sexuality can shift and change. Maybe at one point you identify as a lesbian. Yesterday, and an hour later, you now identify pansexual, right? Whatever it is. And I think that these folks in the public eye who are using their sexuality in many ways to bring in more fans, to bring in more attention, more moolah, that they need to be responsible. Jojo Siwa should never, ever have said that two queer friends who likely were like 16 and 17 were telling her you should just be a lesbian. If that even happened, you got to be responsible. Like, you're not being responsible. There's already this idea that we have this gay agenda or something.
And that we are targeting children with it, as if children do not know who they are. We were all gay babies. We were all gay teenagers. Okay, we have two cisgender heterosexual parents. A lot of us. Well, I don't know if our parents really is heterosexual or cisgender, but whatever. For the most part, that's allegedly cisgender heterosexual parents, straight parents. Ain't nobody turning their kids straight. It didn't work on us. If they did, if they tried, it didn't work. Yeah. So this idea that somehow the gay community is turning children, what she's really doing and what she's really saying, I don't know if she's doing it as intentionally with her PR team or whoever's in this conservative media. I don't know. I don't even know if she reads or anything like that. So she may not know that this is a conservative talking point, is that y'all are turning children transgender and gay.
But I don't agree that people don't try to turn people straight. I don't agree. They absolutely do.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah, it's in everything.
That is the actual agenda.
Yeah.
That's the agenda.
That's the pressure.
That's the pressure.
Yeah.
Is to be straight. So dating a man in a time when it's very queerophobic, it's very transphobic, it's coming out of every single media outlet talking about, oh, people need to get married and people need to have babies. Even bi folks who are dating cis men need to acknowledge their privilege.
In what way?
Them. You need to acknowledge that, yes, I'm bi, and that people will make assumptions about me and about my sexuality, which would afford protection. Protection.
Yeah,
100%.
so if I'm walking with him, you know, they're not going to try to press me as much.
If you're trying to buy a house, if you're trying to get an apartment, this is outside of the major metropolitan areas, right? You could be bisexual and then navigate the world as a straight, assumed person.
I think that's the thing about white queerness, and I think the white mainstream media has sold queerness to most people, or image of queerness as just solely white.
Yeah.
So all the black, queer, gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, transgender, non-binary, agender people, we get left out of those images. We get left out when there's talk about trans actors and actresses. They're not oftentimes talking about black trans actors, even black trans feminine actors. They're talking about white trans masculine actors, which I'm like, of course, those would be
I think they are talking about black people, but they talk about black trans. Yes,
they do with pose and things like that, but not as much. It doesn't get the same treatment.
I'm saying they talk about them as objects, as something to pilfer from.
Yes, but not as like, oh, you're really making inroads in the industry and we're so happy to have you.
You're here for me to get more popular. Like Chappell Roan, I don't know why anybody hasn't clocked that. I don't see that as acknowledgement or adoration that she is so obsessed with Sasha Colby and has literally taken what Sasha Colby has said, I'm your favorite drag queen's favorite drag queen, and made it her own.
Who is Sasha Colby?
Sasha Colby is from Drag Race. She won.
Okay.
So that's who Chappell Roan is obsessed with. Talks about her all the time. Went on Jimmy Kimmel and was doing all this and stuff like that. That's who she's like.
And that's the thing that
I think it's interesting that you just said who is Sasha Colby, but you know who Chappell Roan is.
There you go. White queer people just don't push the needle enough for me. Like, Chappell Roan, you're looking to one of the most mainstream representations of queerness, RuPaul Drag Race. You're looking to that as a model or a blueprint to emulate, you know, or to meet out your queerness.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Jojo Siwa. You dating a man is not radical, it's not controversial. That's why I said these are white queer conversations. Queerness as we know it to be intrinsically black, inherently black. I'm growing up, I'm seeing all type of blended families and shit, studs with baby daddies. So none of that is shocking. I don't think we're sitting around black queer people having conversations of, oh, that person was fucking with a nigga.
Well,
not really, Erica.
What is not on the, what's not on our breakdown to talk about, but I think we need to talk about is the interview between Nene Leakes and T.S. Madison, where Nene Leakes says to T.S. Madison, if a cis man essentially were to walk in here and be attracted to both of us, then he's gay. Because she says this, and I quote, T.S. Madison, you have all your parts. So and a lot of people on TikTok, I was looking at videos, they were like, I agree with Nene Leakes.
Why would they agree with Nene? And your personal opinion, knowing what you know about the type of people who might listen to or follow Nene Leakes or Nene Leakes podcast or Atlanta Housewives.
You know, I don't really, the thing about the internet and this anti-intellectual era that we're in and the downfall of reading in general, right? Is that folks don't explain how they feel about something, right? Beyond saying, that's a reach, I agree with Nene, the end. It's like, why do you agree with Nene? What else do you have? How is it a reach? Why do you feel like what T.S. Madison is saying is wrong? Like, I don't understand why you're connecting this. And for me, I'm like, if you're a woman, if you're a man, why do you have to prove it with genitals? You just are, right?
Right.
Aren't you just a woman or a man? Why you have to prove? Why you have to talk about your uterus? Why you have to talk about your clitoris? Why you have to talk about your vulva?
Yeah. Maybe.
But it's the same thing as queerness. Why do you have to prove you're straight? Why do you have to prove that?
Nene has had to prove that she is a woman all the time.
Constantly.
All the time. The first insult that people make about Nene is of a transphobic nature.
Constant. So a black cis woman is trying to make herself whole by essentially degrading a black trans woman because that's the only individual that she can put down to make herself feel better. But you're doing that to set yourself apart, and it doesn't work. Like, huh? And honestly, this too, if I put a strap-on and I peg, which I hate the term peg, but if I peg a cis man, that makes that cis man gay too? If I stick my fingers in a cis man's butt, does that mean I'm...
Why are you saying if when this is this is a common occurrence?
But I'm saying if me, because I'm saying me.
Oh, you,
but I'm saying...
It happens.
Are y'all are really... This is very old. I feel like this is like
That's
1990s.
What I mean. That's what I mean.
Like, what? Maybe even earlier than that. Like, why are y'all are in sodomy law territory? What are y'all talking about? Gender, sexuality are different. They are not connected. Your genitals and your gender are separate. They are not connected.
But a white person told me that they were, you know, they have a relationship to one another.
To prove who you're going to be in relationship with. A white person told me that you have to prove that you're straight, that you're a femme, or that you're masculine.
Or that I'm a man, or that I'm a woman. It's across the board. For cisgender people, transgender people, it doesn't matter. Across the spectrum of identities, we are all put up against a measuring stick of whiteness and told to prove that you are who you say you are, because you ain't shit.
Yeah.
This is for black people.
Yeah.
This is what we're put up against. And even in a gender and race, and like you say all the time, they're inextricably linked. You cannot have one without the other. They both come from the same place. This is a white person's mind and imagination, a penchant toward domination. Okay, how can I say that I deserve to have property ownership, but this person with a vulva can't have property? Well, I got to make up attributes. Women are not really that smart. They need to be in the house. They are only good for having children. These are all things that need to be made up, need to be manufactured.
Yes.
In order for white people, or people who thought of themselves as white cisgender men, to rule the world and to dominate it.
Yes.
With abandon. And in order to do that, you need the buy-in of even the people you're dominating.
Yes.
You need them to really believe that a man has a penis, a woman has a vulva, and that these sort of conscriptions or prescriptions and categories have certain attributes, personality types. Oh, little boys do this, little girls do that. Like, you have to have all of that.
Yes.
In order for people to just believe in everything that you say.
Yeah.
Which is what, I mean, JoJo, from Nene Leakes to Jojo Siwa, the through line is that y'all believe anything that white people tell you.
Yeah.
It's not just Nene Leakes believing that, saying that in order to be a real woman, and even though I'm tall, or, you know, because people looking at my height or my weight or my skin color or my nose, you know, saying these things about me that I don't meet the white conventional beauty standard. Now I have to tell somebody else that they don't meet the white conventional biological essentialist beauty standard.
Yes.
JoJo Siwa, you doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. The white conservative media is now in vogue. Now they're getting the money. They're getting the podcast spots. They're getting all the sponsorships.
Yeah.
You're jumping shit.
Yeah.
In order to get that money. I can't even say you jumping shit, but you are pandering.
That part.
Because she might not.
Somebody should tell.
She was on that shit.
Somebody should tell JoJo Siwa you could be racist, conservative, and still be lesbian.
And or you can have a fluid. That's what I'm like, this idea that sexuality is fluid. It is a very 90s conversation. White people still, oh my God, sexuality is fluid and we can be bi and have, you know, cis men partner. Yes.
Yeah.
You can. Who cares? We all know that.
Also, JoJo Siwa said that she was the originator of gay pop music. So who pressured you to say that? Okay.
The originator.
Can you take that back, please? Because you were pressured. So can you take that back? Thank you.
I could go so many places with that.
Yep.
I could go. I don't even have to go Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith, and
it doesn't matter.
I don't even have to go that far. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It doesn't.
That's what her That's what her queerness had looked like.
I don't think people understand when somebody gets on TV, you are seeing already a different version of them.
Period.
They have already gone through so many different hands, so many different conversations that by the time you see them, They are, with all of those conversations, with all of those considerations, and somebody like a Jojo Siwa who likely was groomed into being on YouTube very early, too early. Pressured, right? Who are you, Jojo Siwa, for yourself, right?
Like, at 22, none of us really knew who the hell we was, but we also...
Prefrontal cortex not even fully formed.
No. So I'm like, so I'm going to only I'm not giving no white people no grace. You 22 years old, you grown, you got a nigga, you grown enough to be doing all this and that. So, and having girlfriends and boyfriends, you grown enough to do all that. You grown enough to read and understand that you are using white, right-wing conservative talking points, which is why Donald Trump for America fan page on Facebook is resharing and posting articles in support of Jojo Siwa.
Jesus.
Saying that the queer community is pure evil. Is that what she intend? Is that the messaging? Is that what she wants us to imply from her statements? Is that the queer community is this evil pariah that pressures people and turn people out and turn people gay? So again, the world is strange. I'm not surprised at all that she would make these statements while, what did you just tell me about?
United States versus Cisnormative.
Yes, the ban had passed.
Under Tennessee's law, a child could receive puberty blockers and hormone therapy if the medications were provided to help them conform to their sex assigned at birth, but not to treat gender dysphoria. The plaintiffs argued this constituted sex-based discrimination and thus violated the Equal Protection Clause. Tennessee argued the law did not treat people differently based on their sex, but rather based on their age and medical condition. So it passed that
you cannot get gender affirmative care in the state of Tennessee.
Correct.
Yes. This is at the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court making that statement is damning.
Huge.
It's damning.
It's huge. Yeah. But we have a majority conservative Supreme Court.
Yeah, and Clarence Thomas said that he used New York Times transphobic articles and writers, right, to prove why he was going to vote against this.
So just random journalists, no experts on gender, sexuality, no doctors and medical
the New York
professionals.
Times, from the New York Times. I think that that's important to note. Because people would think that these are qualified journalists, that they know what they're talking about because it's the New York Times. No.
So that's the point that I'm making. It's like Jojo Siwa is not mentioning that.
Yeah.
She's not using her platform. I don't care if you're, again, white, queer, very basic apolitical conversations that are actually not queer in nature.
Yes.
They're just about sex and who you might be having sexual relations with or not.
Yeah.
That's all it boils down to. Genitals.
Yes.
What you do with the genitals.
Yes.
What kind of genitals you have.
Yeah.
It's just like with straight people.
Yeah.
Drawing penises when we in class. Like that's these people, they stay in that stage. You could be using your platform, whether your sexuality is fluid or not. Great. You have fluid sexuality. You like all different types of people, different types of genders. What else is happening in the community that has given you a big piece of a $1 trillion buying power?
She's not going to talk about that.
Well, why not?
She never has.
That's the point that I'm making.
She never, that's not going to make her money. This makes her money. This is why I know that Jojo Siwa was likely queer baiting when she came out.
There you go.
And now she's trying to backtrack as she's dating this man who is too old. Like, is anybody concerned about the age?
No.
Like,
no.
I don't want to be like a prude here, but developmentally, my siblings are 21 and 22. No way.
When I was 22 years old, yes, we wanted to be with people older than us and things like that. But when I became 30 years old or 26 years old, I'm not being with, even when I'm 22, you think I'm going to be with somebody 10 years younger than me?
Yeah.
It just feels strange.
I dated somebody older, but it didn't last because what do we have in common?
That's it. And I dated plenty older people.
Yeah.
At 18 and 19.
You got a completely different life than I do.
But not only that, is something wrong with you that you want to be with me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
At 18, 19, and 20. Is something wrong with you that you want to be with me?
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, it's legal, which is the same. But again, it goes back to the anti-intellectual. Give me more.
Well, now it's legal to tell kids that you can't have gender affirming care in order to save your life. That's legal too in many states, actually.
Yep.
Somebody, a white cis man, or Clarence Thomas wishing he was a white cis man, cuckold, telling you what you can do with your body or not. That's legal.
Yeah.
So we don't even need to bring up all the legal precedents that the United States has.
Yeah.
Literally, you had to amend the Constitution in order to grant citizenship to Black people.
Yeah.
You had to make amendments.
Yeah.
You had to make the 14th Amendment.
Yeah.
In order to say Black people, actually, yeah, you can be people now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not 3/5 no more.
Yeah.
You're a whole person now.
I was on a thread rabbit hole yesterday and I shouldn't have been. That was like, somebody had just discovered that indigenous people also own slaves. And people in the comments were like, yeah, slavery was about class, not race.
Huh? This is why I'm saying, this is why I'm like, I think it's the Love Island bag.
You think it's Love Island?
That's why I think Love Island is, I'm not going to say Love Island is responsible for the lack of literacy. I'm not going to say that. I take that back because remember we used to have, what was that show called when we was kids?
We didn't have all this.
The Love Shack, or remember that? What was that show where?
It's scripted.
Wheel of Love? It was not Will. It was some type of show when we were kids. You're younger than me,
so I don't know.
It was like a long-standing show where you would turn the wheel and it would be people's pictures. Like it would just be contestants on there looking for love. It was like a dating show. It's called,
I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember
I'm
the
gonna find the name of it.
It wasn't Love Shack.
It wasn't Love Shack. It was something. I'm gonna find the name of it. I'm gonna put it in here. But yes, there have been dating shows. Yes, that is a big thing. You know, The Bachelor and all Bachelorette and all that shit.
Yeah, yes. That's been on for like 20 years.
The Bachelor is not appealing to a lot of young people though. I don't believe.
No, that's more like mid
age,
20, late 30s. Like, yeah, that's
it
middle
feel
age.
like a corporate. Like if you wear Cole Haans and stuff and just button down
in the Midwest.
And you know what I'm saying? Like you watch
that at 6, you make dinner, and then your show come on.
Like you're not. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not overtly sexual either. And also it's more private. If they do have sex. No, but if they do have sex behind closed doors, there's no cameras.
Never know.
It's very like, oh, I'm not having sex until we get to the end. It's not.
Love Island is like we just had sex right
Correct.
now.
And we can see it. Like the cameras,
interviews and shit like that.
Yeah, they wear microphones around their neck and around their waist because all they are allowed to wear apparently is bathing suits.
But that's the world that we live in. We're a show where people walking around in bathing suits, mostly white people, walking around in bathing suits, 20-somethings, maybe 30-somethings sometimes, talking about how much they want to be with people they don't know.
And, you know, it's so interesting because love on the spectrum, people demand of love on the spectrum so much more. Right? They want so much more, command so much more from. Yeah, they want so much more from it. They want to see people having conversations and talking about what matters to them and talking about the world and connecting and having struggle. But on shows like The Bachelor or Love is Blind or Love Island or any of the other ones, or the ones with cishet neurotypical people or allegedly neurotypical people, they don't have to do anything but just show up in a bathing suit and be attractive, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, that's
the privilege of it, right?
Barometer for humanity. That's what they're saying,
right?
You don't have to think. You don't have to have any type of substantive conversations with people. You can just be a body. Yeah,
it's what is a reflection of what's happening in the world, right? If your body is valued and you get to have life because it's given value by people all the time. It's like people are saying now it's Survivor. They're treating it like Survivor.
It was always that because that's how you survive.
Yes.
This is why I be thinking about all the time. Why am I taking this shot? Why am I taking testosterone? I'm taking testosterone in order to have other people or really to have myself brain, to have it be a match for how I feel or who I am. But a lot of it, the physical characteristics, is for other people.
You think so?
It is.
Not for you.
I'm who I am because I say I am.
Oh, I got you.
I'm who I am because I say I am. You don't have to medically transition in order for you to be trans or to be who you are. Correct. Which we know, but even at that knowledge, you still got to survive. You still have to survive. You still have to have people see you. You have to first see yourself as desirable and valuable. And so often, because of the world and society we live in, we're told that we're not just the way that we are.
Yeah.
a woman look like this, a man look like this.
Yeah.
So now I got to do whatever I got to do. You know, but everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
Everybody is doing something across the board, cisgender people especially, to affirm their gender.
100%. They're taking puberty blockers too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they putting insulin in their bodies.
Yes.
Taking diabetes medication.
Yes.
To get skinny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which is like at a crisis point. I scroll on TikTok and every other video is somebody talking about the 4-2-1 method. Somebody else is talking about 4-2-1 is work. You do strength training 4 days a week, and then you do cardio 2 days a week, and then you rest one.
Mm-hmm.
Then is somebody talking about taking GLP-1s. Mm-hmm. Then is somebody talking about how they was on Skinny Talk, and Skinny Talk helped them to become thin and take care of themselves. Like, people are not understanding that fat phobia coinciding with these structures, right? That literally a return to whiteness, it's a return to a resurgence of whiteness, right? And multiple genocides happening across the globe is indicative of folks trying to save themselves by doing things to their bodies that essentially harm their body, but it doesn't matter because as long as the aesthetic looks good, that's all that matters. Right. And I think that is what Love Island perpetuates. It is all about the aesthetic. They literally don't go to the pool. They work out and then get dressed and then repeat.
Now, knowing what you know about.
Do not ask me why I watch.
I'm not necessarily asking why you watch, but knowing what you know about cisgender, heterosexual, straight propaganda, rather, the straight agenda, with Love Island in particular, with the treatment of Black people, the treatment of Black women, the sort of humiliation and excoriation of Black women often on that show. That's the point that I'm trying to make is like, what do you foresee as the dangers of a show like Love Island? Given the current geopolitical situation that we are in now, I mean, what is Love Island, besides the low literacy rates and shit like that, what you are describing with Ozempic and Skinny Talk, like Love Island is a microcosm of those dynamics, but also is contributing greatly to them. My question is, if you gonna watch it, because people gonna watch it, I guess.
Yeah.
What do people need to be aware of?
I think it's important to read, to take breaks away from screens, right? Because even though I have media literacy, I understand these systems, I understand what Love Island, all of them are trying to do, it still has an impact on me. It still absolutely makes me think about my body, or makes me think that my body is too big or wrong, or I need to lose weight, or I need to go get Botox, or I need to go get filler. I need to change my hair. I need to walk around the house in a bathing suit. Like all of these thoughts.
You can actually do that.
All of these thoughts I have because of this show, but I'm able to actually not fall down the rabbit hole of them so much because I'm able to see what they're trying to perpetuate. Now, someone that doesn't have any level of media literacy, that doesn't really understand how systems work, that think this show is actually about finding love and not getting $100,000. I'm like, y'all, they keep talking about how people are just trying to win. And that's every single contestant on the show. They are all trying to win $100,000. When you make that the prize,
it's a competition.
It's a prize at the end. Of course, they're all trying to win. Of course. And they get more than that, right? They're going to get.
Well, they're trying to get clout, followers, money.
They'll get that regardless. That's a given. They're going to get that.
They're trying to figure out how do I get more.
But now it's like, how can I get more? If I go all the way to the end, it's more screen time, right? So I think that it's important to pay attention to why these shows exist, who's on these shows, who's not on the show, right? To be actually looking at that. There's no trans people on this show. I don't think there's ever been a trans person. There is queer people that have been on the show, but they're not able to couple up with other people, and their expressions of queerness or being a lesbian or bisexual is always for the male gaze. So for me, I'm always like, cringe. Like if you are in a trying to be in a relationship with someone, a queer relationship or whatever, it's for you. It's not for other people to gawk at or get aroused by. That grosses me out. So, and there's no disabled people. So that's why I bring up Love on the Spectrum. It's like, why can't contestants from Love on the Spectrum be on Love Island? Right? People love them so much. They love the clips and so they oohing and ahhing about their relationships on Love on the Spectrum. But it seems to me that they're only valuable on Love on the Spectrum.
They're infantilizing them.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
They're infantilizing
and then they're desexualizing them too. It's a way to segregate.
Yes.
Right? It's a way to say, okay, if you're with other autistic people, cool.
It is. It's like, to your point, none of these people, none of these positionalities are being represented on one of the most popular shows in the world now. At this point.
Nobody in the world.
One of the most
US,
popular shows in the United States.
Yeah, US and UK. And I don't...
in the Western world.
I'll say this, though. I cannot watch this season of Love Island UK.
Why?
Because there's a ton of white women and there was 2 black girls. One of the black girls is now gone because of the white women ganging up on her. In a way that I don't think would ever be permissible in the US. Ever. Like, I think...
Or in real life.
Or in real life. But I think that in the US, there would be other white girls that would be like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, they would check them. Man. I know, I do. Because the way Love Island is organized, and culturally, that's just not a thing that folks get away with very quickly. That's why Jalissa was removed. That's the Latinx person that voted for Trump and was saying the N-word online and stuff like that. They just took her off the show because as much as folks will be anti-black, if you are very blatantly anti-black for the most part in the U.S. on national television, you're not going to last very long unless you're on like conservative things. But for the most part, I think Love Island is, I'm not going to say Love Island is a liberal. No, I'm not. Yeah. But I'm saying that it is more liberal leaning more than conservative leaning.
I think they just have the presence of black people on it.
But I think that they're trying to protect that because they're trying to protect their money. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm not celebrating them for it. But I'm saying that they're playing their cards in a way so they can keep bringing in money. Black culture, black people, black femmes bring in a lot had. Yes. And they know that because it happened last season. It's happened damn near every other season
we make the show hot.
Yes. But Love Island UK is not getting that. Like, literally the fucking foundation of anti-black racism. I mean, it's just clear as day.
Yeah, that's the
There was a black contestant who kissed a white person and he wiped his mouth.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. That would never happen on Love Island US ever, and that person last on that show. No. And now Love Island US has more black viewers. I don't know what's happening in the UK. Like, I feel like people in the UK, black people in the UK, is like, I'm not watching this shit no more. But one of the white girls was arguing with a black girl and told her, go back to tape or something, tame or something like that, which is like where she parties or where she's from. I wasn't clear. But saying go back to anywhere to a black person, no. And it was all over a black man who also said nothing. And I'm like, okay, for my spirit, I can't do it.
I can't. If it ain't Love Island that you watching, it's something else that's having you. Yes. And having all of us question ourselves.
And the shows you be watching.
I don't watch very many shows.
Scripted, horrible shows.
I don't watch very many shows. What is the name of the
show that you watched? The 50 Cent show? Power?
Raising Canaan. I don't watch Power. I've never seen any. I've never seen Power.
That show is horrible.
It's pretty bad, but but see, I'm watching it for the actors. I'm watching it for the performances of a black film opera singer, excellent actress.
I'm watching it for people's performance, black films, for multiple black films
Miller
to make money.
You really do. That's really why you watch it. I'll be honest. Patina Miller is a great actress, and she deserves that support.
Black films being loved on,
they not being loved on that show.
Loved on, celebrated, worshipped. I like that. If you're worshiping a black femme, I'm tuned in. And I felt like season 6 did that really well. Now, season 7 is struggling a little bit, but I do feel
Love
like
Island
Love
doesn't
Island
have
US,
no worship of black femmes on it.
They do, babe.
No.
And I feel like one that made me excited but pissed me off to no degree was Cash and Cinco, which I believe was season 5.
I remember that one.
Or 5, yes. And Cash was buzzhead, dark skin. Yes, dark skin, had black features, very clear black features, and Cinco was like dark skin. Like, they were gorgeous. I want to see that on television, but then he played her, of course. But that was wonderful. That felt like healing a little bit, dare I say, healing light. Healing.
That's how depraved our society has become.
What? Clock it.
That's given what Whoopi Goldberg is saying a little bit.
Is it? No, that's not the same.
The way you think that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Black women essentially having to
we have this Love Island.
Possible white conventional beauty standards, go on the show where they know they don't meet the standard because of their skin tone alone. Yep. They go on there, they be looking good as hell. Yep. The brothers be looking at all the white girls, excuse me, to get to the white girls.
It's not as bad as UK though.
And one or two people being in relation, two dark-skinned people being in a relationship with one another.
It's shocking.
That's shocking, but that becomes worship. Yeah. That's the little bit of worship that a black person can hope to attain in this world. Yeah. On a terrible, horrible tabloid-like TV show. Yep. So that's why I told you, I said, if the aliens really wanted to come and they was like, okay, what is it giving down there? What's going on? Like, want to stake out the competition? I had them watch Love Island.
Watch Love Island.
Tell the motherfucker if it's really life on Earth, which it likely is. Watch Love Island. If you want to see the state and the circumstance, the condition of depravity that the United States or that this country, this world, the Western world has devolved into, watch Love Island.
And can you go back to what exactly Whoopi Goldberg said? I just want to pull that apart a little bit.
This is all very important for the Pride episode. Yeah. I want to let y'all know that.
Yes. We don't exist like outside of these things happening.
No, we don't.
We like to think we do sometimes, like at a party, like we're insular, like we're in like a little, what do people say?
A bubble.
Your echo chamber, like kind of thing. Yeah, bubble. We're not. We're impacted by all of this stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah. Happy Pride.
Pride.
Here's a pride.
With it. Like, it just Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know Whoopi Goldberg's exact verbatim comments.
I could pull it while you talk. Mm-hmm.
As we all know, and for those who don't know, the United States military, in conjunction with the illegitimate apartheid state of Israel, I hesitate to call them a government. How can you be a government? You don't have a country necessarily. You don't have one. But the illegal apartheid state of Israel and the United States planned a bombing of Iran, particularly its capital city. Now, what you'll see in the media is that, they bombed nuclear sites. They bombed Tehran, which is the capital city in Iran. And the majority of the casualties of Israel's first attack on Iran has been majority civilians, not military personnel and people. However, Israel actually, when we say civilian, we just mean like people who is not military members. So that's teachers, that's doctors, that's scientists, that's plumbers, that's, farmers, etc. So these are people who are being strategically killed and targeted by the Israeli government. Mm-hmm. So Whoopi Goldberg, in light of the bombing
June 13th,
on June 13th, which was, I want to also say, was not retaliatory in any way. Like people are saying, well, Iran must have did something. Nope. They just wanted to do it. And we'll talk about later why Israel, with its ongoing genocide against Palestinians, would want to pivot to a new escalation with Iran. There's a reason for that. But basically, Whoopi Goldberg, I believe, said that Black women are treated very similarly or the same in a lot of ways as women in Iran.
Well, because they were going back and forth, and Griffin, which I think is the Republican white racist one, she said that they're throwing, I just hate when they use queer people as justification for bombing other countries, because this should be the first country that's bombed if that's how we're going to do things.
First country.
Said that they throw gay people off of buildings in Iran. And then Whoopi Goldberg said, well, they keep black people, trigger warning, they keep black people hanging from trees in the US, right? Like, so what? What's your point, really? And then she was like, well, if I wore this outfit, I don't know what she had on, but whatever she had on. If I were the Griffin person, if I had this outfit on, I couldn't step foot in Iran. And Whoopi Goldberg was like, even in the US, you would have trouble, like even just existing as a black woman, essentially, period. And then she was like, I don't really think so. Like in Iran, it's worse. They don't even have fair voting rights. Like, neither does the U.S. Like, this is not a reason to bomb someone. Like, there's somebody that we can put the credit for it, but somebody tweeted that, you know, you cannot use the same talking points from the Iraq war in 2025. Like,
that's what's happening.
When that happened, we were what, 17?
I was 13.
Yeah. So, you know, and now, but a lot of us are now in our 30s and our 40s. Come on now. You can't convince us of that. You could barely convince us of that when we were, you know, when like this, like, what are we? Millennial age-esque.
Yeah. Right? When George Bush came out with them weapons of mass destruction.
Yes,
nobody believed that. Nobody believed that.
Motherfuckers did. Viewers of the people that watched The View believed it.
Yeah. But children, us, we didn't believe
it. The Bachelor and the Bachelorette and likely Love Island too. It's like, y'all just believe whatever is on the screen.
No, you believe whatever a white person tells you.
Yeah. What does that mean? I keep
saying that's the through line. They tell you what they tell you.
White person like that.
Whatever these motherfuckers tell y'all, y'all go for it. Y'all overly going. Y'all go for anything that a white person. I don't know what other way to put that.
Yeah.
I want to say it plainly and simply. I want to distill it simply.
Yeah.
Even in the way that we're thinking about Iran, saying that, oh, they have nuclear weapons. Iran does not have nuclear weapons. But you want to know who does? Israel is the only country in the Middle East that is known to have.
Doesn't the United States also have nuclear weapons?
I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
The only countries in this conflict that we're talking about.
Yes.
It's not even a conflict. It's a white supremacist, imperialist endeavor.
Yes. That's all it is. And they got away with it by committing genocide.
And so that's what I'm saying. The only countries that involved in this that have nuclear weapons is the United States and Israel.
Yeah.
But the narrative that people are pushing, oh, Iran has weapons. They don't. They allow inspections. Guess who doesn't allow inspections? Israel. Okay? They're trying to get the Iranian government to not develop uranium that could enrich its people. But the United States has, I believe, over 4,000 nuclear warheads. The United States is the only country to have ever used a nuclear weapon in war. So while we're all speculating as to Iran's nuclear capability, the likelihood, where would they hit us? When are they going to hit us? We need to unarm them. We need to stop them. The United States is the only country that has dropped a bomb on another country during World War II. August 6, 1945. What y'all are all worried about, United States already did it.
Yeah.
And they named the bomb that they dropped, Little Boy. I almost teared up when I looked at the name of the bomb.
Make you tear up.
Because it's what my professor in college, Professor Streeter, shout out to her. She called white supremacy evil genius. The system that is so plug and play, like this idea that men are supposed to be violent, that they are violent, that they're able to be violent, that they're able to mete out violence. This nationalism and white nationalism and patriotism is all wrapped up inside a gender. It's all these images of Uncle Sam and G.I. Joe and these white figureheads that are supposed to signify to the world white cis men's dominance over all. And you name a bomb Little Boy, but then you expect children to be something different than that. It's not that the expectation is that they don't be violent. It's the hope that they are violent.
Yes.
So that they can then grow up, be a part of the military. It's like,
what is Donald Trump or JD Vance more than a little boy who just wants to play a video game? I really feel like white men think life as a video game. It's really scary that they even have access to a controller to send bombs to other countries because they don't have no care or concern about anyone else like it is a video game. So when you play a video game, you just shoot people and then the game is over, you win or not. And then you go back and those same people come back alive or whatever, and you keep playing the game. That's what they think. They don't have any regard. People keep saying, hello, wake it up, have regard for people. And they're not getting it. They don't care.
But where does that start?
It starts young.
Yeah.
Nation starts young, but it's also how we are, socializing young white boys, right? This conversation it even sounds weird coming out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. We don't even talk about that. We constantly talk about how we socialize black boys or black children, but we never talk about how white boys are socialized, right? And the messaging that they get and the poor messaging that they're getting from a white man president, right? Like that's a horrible example of how to be a human being.
Much less a man.
Right. Horrible. But you're allowed let off the hook because you're a man and men are supposed to be violent. So you're insulated because biology as destiny has allowed you to be able to cause harm over and over and over again. But what people want to sit and focus on if somebody has a penis or not. Yeah. And if that person is gay, like y'all have to wake up. Yeah. Like you are falling for all of this. Like it's much deeper than fucking. Yes. Right. It's causing and continuing to have war to the extent of Van Jones' ass is on the news being just like the View host saying how they treat women so poorly in Iran. Sir, you can't even go to the bathroom in the United States without the genital police saying something to you. The police are not walking up to people and saying, are you trans? They're literally stopping people from going into the bathroom. Yeah. You can't even go to the bathroom here. You can't even die in peace. Adriana Smith, she died. She was brain dead. And she could not just be taken off life support and buried and her family be able to grieve. They literally kept her as an incubator. Yeah. If that were a white woman, what would y'all be saying? What would you be saying? No. So all of this talk about, it's just so hard for women. You don't care about women. And this idea that you are more free here because what? You can wear a bathing suit on a show. You can wear your cleavage out in the street. That makes you free. How? Yes. How? Under the gender binary.
Illusion of freedom.
It's illusion.
It's the aesthetic of freedom.
It's the aesthetic. And people have been saying Kamala Harris wouldn't have bombed Iran. We should have voted for her. But what I will say, guess what? She didn't win. All I'm saying is all these women's rights that y'all are claiming are in the U.S., why haven't we had a woman president? As basic as that is, why didn't Hillary win? Why didn't Kamala win? If it's so wonderful to be here as a woman, or did misogynoir have anything to do with that? Is that like an ongoing issue in this country? Are people constantly attacked walking down the street? They tell a cis man that they're not interested in his advances and he kills them. Does that happen in this country or am I missing something? Like, y'all have to wake it up. Like, y'all are protecting something that doesn't support you, doesn't hold you, doesn't make you whole. It just continues to harm. It's not cute or interesting. It's not.
And are Israeli women treated any better?
Come on.
I think that it was, for many years, it was actually illegal to be gay.
Come on.
In Israel.
100%.
So I don't understand.
You cannot be anything freely under a white supremacist, apartheid, genocidal state. You are not free. And it's just like the Nene T.S. Madison conversation. You are only free as you subjugate another person. And that's why so many Israeli people go on TikTok and social media and they be putting down Palestinians and making fun of them and stuff. Because that's the only time you have freedom. You're only something by being shitty to another person.
Rendering somebody else nothing.
Yes. In this country, how long is maternal leave? If only women have babies, for sure, only women have babies. How long is maternal leave?
3 I'll wait. Or less.
There's so many rights here, and you want women to have babies so much. What?
Yeah. But not only that, it's like 80 to 90. I believe it was, I don't know. It was the overwhelming majority in a poll conducted that maybe, the overwhelming majority of Israeli people support the bombing of Iran.
Because they bombed Tel Aviv.
It ain't got Not because they bombed Tel Aviv. Because before Tel Aviv was bombed, Israel had already launched full-scale attacks last year on Iran.
They fall for the propaganda. And also, I don't believe these numbers. I feel like Israel could not be trusted with no percentages, nothing.
I do believe, though, that, again, it goes back to what we talk about with gentrification in Brooklyn or all over the United States. There's going to be a point where if something is done on your behalf, if great mayhem, evil, war, destruction, catastrophe, genocide is done on your behalf, the entire society is organized around the principle that you are a supreme being over all others, particularly those who are deemed created to be black, i.e. the opposite juxtaposed to white. If that has been the organizing principle,
this is what
of the world, for millennia now, for thousands of years,
it makes you,
and it makes you, whether or not you agree on a moral ground that these things should be happening, you aren't gonna do anything about it. How I know that what I'm saying is true? White people have not done anything about gentrification, and the Israeli white people there who are illegally occupying Palestinian land, they are not doing anything about it. They're being brainwashed into believing that what is happening is somehow different than. You literally had Zionists create Zionism in conjunction with the actually anti-Semitic British Empire attempted to drive Jewish people out of Europe, creating this idea of a fake-ass Holy Land. You had them come and take over Palestinian people's land, kill them and displace them in order to do that. And your illegal settlement, the only way that those illegal settlements can happen is through violence. When the Israeli government invaded Lebanon during Ronald Reagan administration, they wasn't invading Lebanon and essentially devastating Beirut for no reason in order to what a lot of people are saying is, to bring peace. That's what Van Jones is saying. If you get rid of Iran, then you can have peace in the Middle East. That's literally the rhetoric. When they did that, that is all a part of the long-term goal of the U.S. and Israel in conjunction to annex the West Bank. When they bombed Lebanon, that's when the explosion of settlements began. Those same people, their families, their grandparents, y'all are living in those settlements from that invasion in the 80s. Y'all are living in that. So of course you agree to bomb Iran.
But they don't think about that, though. They don't think about that. They think about the beginning part. They think about the fact that in order for me to exist as a white person, there needs to be bad people. The Iranians, they don't treat women right. They're terrorists. They're wrong. And I am good. There's got to be a bad. In order for me to perpetually be good, there has to be a bad. Nene talking to T.S. Madison, in order for me to be a woman, you have to not be one. That's the only way. I have to make sure that I solidify who I am by degrading you. It's on and on, binary, right? It's this idea that you can wear what you want in this country. Fat people walking around in a bathing suit are chastised for wearing a bathing suit. Like told, like literally verbally spoken to in ways, even fat people working out in gyms, spoken to in ways that are disgusting. You cannot wear whatever you want in this country. That is a lie. That is a complete lie. You can't even be topless here. Like, what are you talking about? Without
even
somebody...
a gender non-conforming person, you can't wear whatever you want.
No.
Motherfucker walk around in a beard and they got a thong on. Somebody gonna say something.
Only recently have they changed the laws. Only recently have they changed the laws around hair. The way that literally black hair grows out of our scalp was not allowed and was not permissible in a workspace. Like, what are y'all talking about? Right. And they weren't just, that wasn't, yes, mass folks have locks, 100%. But that is 100% misogynoir, right? They're talking about afros. They're talking about locks. They're talking about any style that grows out naturally. It was an issue, like literally in law.
It's a way to police black femme bodies, which 100% is of the main.
Again, we come back to who are white people, who are colonizers going to be if there's not a bad? You have to justify it.
We need Hezbollah. It's Hezbollah now. It's Hamas. It's like United States literally destabilized Iran in the 1950s. Iran was a democratic state. Van Jones has to know that. A person like Van Jones got to know that. So I'm like, you're getting paid. Does this all go back to money? It's frustrating.
Yeah.
For example, New York Times, one of the first articles, Israel pounds Iran. Like, what?
That's
Y'all
horrible.
not telling me nothing about the people that was pounded.
Mm-hmm.
You're not telling me nothing about
language. That's horrible language.
But that's what I'm saying. But if this was New York, would they have said that? When we go look at, if we go look at the coverage from September 11th in the New York Times,
do they say that about October 7th? Do they say Hamas pounded Israel? That's disgusting.
And that's why I'm like, it's something going on. I'm not saying it's conspiratorial at all. They're, even with Love Island, I'm not saying it's conspiratorial.
They are trying to firmly define who is a woman and who is a man, who is straight, who is gay, who is disabled, and who is able-bodied, right? Because even RFK Jr. with all of these, everything that he says out of his mouth is all very anti-Black and ableist as a way to constantly be drawing these lines of, look, these people are worthy of working, are worthy of life, and these people are not. It's drawing the lines even firmer for who is white and who is Black. Like, it all goes back to that at the end of the day. Yeah. It all goes back to that, which is why
the proxy for white, Black, good and evil.
Which is why you hear about Iran. It's no shade, but you don't hear anything about what's happening in the Congo or Sudan. You don't hear much of anything.
Yeah.
You hear about this conflict of potentially white-leaning looking people who are being harmed. I'm not talking about Iranians. I'm talking about Israelis. Like, you hear about that, right? Because the U.S. is so involved in that, and the U.S. is protecting these white folks, right? White Europeans. Let's just keep it a buck. That's what they are. Yeah. And you don't hear anything about the Congolese or the Sudanese.
No, because those things happen in Africa. Africa is a primitive, savage, barren wasteland, and those things happen there.
And it has to happen
in order for you to have a United States and for you to have an Israel.
And for you to have a Black and a white.
Yeah.
They're not even letting aid into Gaza. You're literally starving people.
They do that all the time.
But you're starving
Israel
people
been doing that for 20 years.
That are literally nonsensical. My thing is, that's why I say it's not just about access to the West Bank. Thank you. It's also about solidifying these lines.
That's why I said they'll tell you, oh, it's because it's in retaliation for a bombing of Tel Aviv. They'll tell you that it's because of, oh, they have uranium and they're going to try to develop nuclear weapons for it, even though there's no evidence. They'll tell you that. They'll give you a myriad of justifications for what's happening, but all of it is to reinforce Western white supremacy. When the United Nations made Israel a country, that was the aim. That aim has not changed. It's to reify Western European whiteness as supreme over all others.
And the only way to do that is to connect the racial capitalism of it all. It's to make them appear that they worked hard, that they have it, that they are, worthy of these things. You have to give them money. You have to give them access to things. So access to the West Bank is like, it's ours. We get to have that. More resources, more money in the pocket. That's what they're going to get. And they know that.
And
that's what Love Island UK does too.
How?
Because they orchestrate who wins. The producers, they orchestrate who gets the sympathy, who returns, right? They orchestrate who is desirable to be in a relationship, in a partnership, and who should win $100,000.
And if I'm worried about and thinking about that and worried about how I look, worried about if a nigga want
this,
I am not going to be thinking about no genocide that's happening in the Congo, and that's Sudan, Palestine, around the corner. I'm not going to be thinking about any of that.
That is what I think about the most is like how much of a distraction a diet is. How much of a distraction it is to be on Ozempic, because you can't eat on Ozempic. So all you think about is food. I know all you think about is food.
They be hungry as hell.
Hell, hungry as hell.
They be hungry.
Like,
I don't think they be hungry. I think they suppress your appetite.
Love Island, 100% distraction. 100%. 100%. I watch it for a distraction. That is why I've always watched Love Island. This is I want a distraction.
But it's not even about on the individual consumer viewer level.
No.
It's more the messaging that undergirds Love Island. You want to be concerned with how you look. If I'm constantly concerned with how I look, or if a motherfucker want me,
yes,
if I'm desirable, if I'm a bombshell, I'm concerned about that within myself, or yes, I'm looking at myself, I'm constantly comparing myself to other people.
Yes.
Where is my capacity to resist a whole U.S. Israeli fucking war machine?
Yes. This part.
That is being trained and has trained with militarized police forces in black cities in the United States.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, well, Whoopi Goldberg said, Iranian people, I don't give a fuck if y'all get mad at it. I don't care. Even white people talking about, I'm white, but like white people, the fact that white people would even enter themselves into the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
police,
white, but...
white people can... A parasite.
Mm-hmm. Ebony is referencing a thread where a white woman said, I'm white, but I think Whoopi Goldberg was off about comparing black women to Iranian women. But it made me think about also on threads, I was telling Eb this the other day, is that somebody said I was fat and ugly, and that's why I keep talking about white supremacy. And I feel like, yes.
No.
Yeah. Yes. But you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think fat is a bad word. Like,
No,
I don't think
not.
that that's a way to degrade somebody.
It's
and
not.
if you think that I'm ugly, so be it. I'm not interested anyway. But also, my whole existence is not about me making sure that you desire me.
Yeah.
Because it is exhausting.
Yeah.
It would keep me from talking about white supremacy.
Yeah.
It would keep me from actually seeing what's happening. It would. It would. So yes. Yes. And that's not a problem. But what a lot of people are doing is they're trying to insulate themselves from white supremacy, and it's not possible. It's the reason why Nene got a nose job. It's the reason why Nene likely is on Ozempic or did whatever sort of mommy makeover, whatever, anybody they do.
Yeah, it's
even
the reason why
it's the reason why she got a nose job. It's the reason why.
It's the reason why Nene trying to denigrate T.S. Madison.
100%. You're trying to protect yourself. And I understand that. I understand going on a diet. I understand trying to lose weight. I understand trying to dress in a way that's going to protect you from these, but there is no protection, especially if you're black, especially if you're a black femme. Whoopi Goldberg was correct.
Yes. I always say it would blow white people's mind if they really sat and thought about that a person could be treated as poorly as black women, trans especially, and also cisgender, that a person could be treated as poorly as black women are treated in this country on American soil. Yeah. It would blow their mind that blows their mind that is a reality. And it's all for their salvation. It's all for them to know themselves as women. I know. It would blow that they can't even be with it so much so that you're entering yourself into a chat that is between two groups that could, what it is also too, just like Netanyahu is doing, the United States is doing, it's all to thwart the peacekeeping process. Yeah. It's all to stop Arab and black solidarity, which has been shown to be quite powerful throughout the years. Yeah. So whenever there's even an inkling of black people or Iranian people or Palestinian people and black people being able to relate to each other's experiences under colonial domination and genocide, a white person will instantly be, well, I'm left out of that. Yeah. Even though you're at the center of it. Yeah. We're resisting the thing that's uplifting you.
It makes me think this might be a total segue, but I think it connects. If it's a segue, you can cut it, but I want to bring it up. I saw a podcast and they were saying that queer spaces are more racially segregated than straight spaces. And I was like, I don't agree with that, but also...
No.
What's wrong
with that?
What's
the point? Right.
No. My point is like, but I think is whenever there's like a queer party, like a queer black party, white people get upset that they can't come. So it's like, that's what I mean. But it's like the solidarity, they try to break it up every single time. Even Happy Pride, queer people.
There are white people online fighting to be called bulldaggers.
Oh my God!
They want to be called white lesbian.
Bulldagger,
but that is a term rooted in
blackness.
Black, it's an AVE term.
Yeah,
And it was pejorative mostly, but it came to be reclaimed in a lot of ways in the 20s and 30s by Black lesbians. So
it's what Toni Morrison said. Who are you? The question could have ended there. Who are you?
For all of y'all.
Because it's not without racism. It is with racism. So who are you? Period.
And we have to, as Black, trans, and queer people, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people, we have to ask ourselves, who are we separate from them?
Yeah.
Who are we? We have to realize that we are the blueprint for this as far as queerness is concerned.
Yeah.
It's no Stonewall without Black, trans women.
Okay.
That wouldn't have happened, or Black Latinx. None of that wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
None of that wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is, in the queer community, I see a departure from that knowing sometimes, where I'm like, that knowing has to iterate itself in how we treat one another.
Yeah.
How we regard one another, how we regard our spaces.
Yeah.
We are together.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there has to be a reinvestment in the source, which is us.
Yeah.
As a Black, trans, and queer community. Yeah. It has to be, and in order to reinvest, you can't put like your dad had you, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. We putting all our eggs, trying to put some of in our basket and also the white queer community's basket, in the belief that we can get power, cultural or social, political power through allyship with white people and white queer people. And I'm like, white queer people are even having a hard time even accepting the word queer. Mm-hmm. A lot of white gay and lesbian people are turned off by the word queer, not just because of the sort of linguistic history of it as a negative term, but because they don't like the idea of what queer represents Blackness. Yeah. It represents being on the margins, the fringe, the edge, not actually following, what did Bell Hooks say? Queer, not as in who I love or have sex with, but
that could be a dimension of it, but not.
Right, but in my politics, how I think, how I treat people, how I navigate the world. Yeah. White, gay, and lesbian people, bisexual,
they want to think about genitals. And we gotta expand beyond the aesthetic. We have to expand beyond the eye. Tell me something about you. Who are you? Yes. And don't use no AAVE.
When you do it.
Tell me who you are.
So that, I think as we go into Pride season.
We leaving it. We're exiting Pride season.
It's Pride 365.
Yes, but for everybody else, the month of June is Pride. And we're leaving it. It's coming to an end. So
I do want to say this because I know everybody's like, oh my God, it's a lot of funny, memes and things about Iran and Black people being like, Iran don't fuck with us. We not fucking with them.
I agree with those memes.
I don't disagree
Iran,
with them.
Please. No, we didn't do anything. We are in the heart of empire, though. We are.
In New York, yes, you are.
No, period. United States. Period.
Yes. And I think it's just important to know that everything that we are being told and taught that is a threat to us, you can feel that way now. Mm-hmm. Whatever imminent threat that you feel from a retaliatory strike against the United States by Iran, you are Iran. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What did you say last episode? That this is the 40th anniversary of the move bombing of the United States, of a police force, a municipal city police force dropping a bomb on Black people.
And that's just
including women and children.
A child's bones are still studied at the University of Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. A Black child. Okay, so please, and that's 40 years ago.
It's a lot of shit going on. So
I think we might need to take a break for July because we haven't taken a break at all this year.
No, we haven't.
So I think
Are you proud of it?
Are you proud of us?
Well, our cadence has been regular.
It's been okay.
It's been 2 episodes a month consistently since April.
I think we need to take July off. Is that okay? And then August, come back for Black August. Come back with a vengeance.
Yes.
That's my thought.
And because Erica is preparing her Sex Ed as Resistance fall cohorts, and she is doing 2 sessions. So that does require a lot of time effort and energy.
Yes.
Do you want to say more about sex ed?
Yes, it's weeknights and weekends. You can go to the website, iHeartErica, IHARTERICKA.com and get all the information about it. It's sliding scale. And I just want to shout out Dame, who has been a wonderful partner with us in this, has offered, I think, at least 20 plus seats, folks to attend for free.
Yes.
My whole intention of creating Sex Ed as Resistance is a way for folks to understand how sex education could really free us from a lot of these structures if we were just actually taught about it accurately.
Yes.
But what is really important to me is that it is accessible. So I'm really grateful to Dame for being a partner. So shout out to them and go register for Sex Ed as Resistance fall cohorts.
Yes. And what Erica also talks about sometimes, what I learned, is how gender and sexuality is central to the creation of the war machine.
Yes, 100%.
It is central. The ways that we are taught to think about gender and sexuality, the outdated, antiquated, non-scientifically based ways, essentialist ways.
It's necessary.
That we are taught to think about our bodies, the bodies of others, our gender, ourselves, our sexualities, how that feeds into the war machine.
Yes, it's necessary.
And so in order to end geopolitical white supremacy, the spread of white supremacy and anti-blackness across the globe, it does start with us, the individual, as well.
Yes, looking at ourselves.
I just want to read this real quick for my last 2 minutes. Okay. This is from a really good book to understand what is often called the special relationship, quote unquote, between Israel and the United States and their genocidal tirade in concert with one another against Palestinian people, really against all Arab people, in order to shore up political power in the Middle East. I'll just leave y'all with this. Yeah. David Ben-Gurion is a well-known Zionist. I think David Ben-Gurion may have been one of the first leaders of the Zionist movement. Mm-hmm. The traces of the origins of saying everything is anti-Semitic can be traced to David Ben-Gurion against a British court that had implicated Zionist leaders in arms trafficking in 1943. And I quote, "Henceforth, to be anti-Zionist was to be anti-Semitic. It is, however, primarily in the post-1967 period that the tactic has been honed to a high art, increasingly so as the policies defended became less and less defensible. Within the Jewish community, the unity in quote-unquote support for Israel that has been demanded and generally achieved is remarkable." Mm-hmm. It's Noam Chomsky and the fateful triangle, the United States, Israel, and the Palestinians. Highly recommend this book as a starting place. So after y'all finish watching Love Island, y'all open this book. Love y'all.
Thank you.
I've been Kevin